eyes of the JCF are upon you. You will not get away with your crimes.
Some strong words from Police Commissioner Dr. Carl Williams at a recent town hall meeting in St. James. In the show today, we'll hear what's being done to tackle the multifaceted issue of crime. Welcome to the program. I am Theodore Henry. Also in today's lineup, why Jamaicans should break their silence on child abuse. We'll also share a bit on cervical cancer in our usual Healthwise. But first, these messages.
Don't make diseases spread. Wash your hands with soap and water instead. Wash them regular or use a hand sanitizer. Make sure the germs them dead. Touching your eyes or your mouth or your nose. Wash your hands before you do things like those. After you use the bathroom before preparing food, come on, wash your hand them clean.
Good day, I'm Lorraine Mendez and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, April 19. Public sector pharmacists are the latest group to accept government's 7% wage offer for the 2015-2017 contract period. The heads of agreement, which was signed on Monday, paves the way for pharmacists to receive a 4% salary increase in year 1 and 3% in year 2. It's retroactive to April 1, 2015. Minister of State in the Finance Ministry Rudyard Spencer says the majority of claims were settled, including the payment of a transportation allowance.
What is of importance is that the pharmacists, they are not really traveling officers, but they perform a very serious service in that they use their own transport in the dedication to the provision of care to the Jamaica populace, use their personal motor vehicles to transport supplies and provide the necessary service so critical for those patients.
Mr. Spencer thanked the pharmacists for their sterling contribution to Jamaica and their strident yet respectful conduct throughout the negotiations. Jamaican tourism officials are meeting with their Cuban and Dominican Republic counterparts this week to hammer out a multi-destination marketing agreement. The agreement is expected to bring more tourism and value to Jamaica and the region.
That tells us that partnership is the way forward for the development of the Caribbean region and certainly for tourism.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett was speaking on Friday at the official opening of the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel in New Kingston. He said government would be drawing heavily on the people, culture, heritage, music and entertainment attributes of Kingston as the capital is repositioned to drive tourism arrivals through city tourism. And in line with a New York City-based advertising agency's survey, food will be integral to the marketing strategy. That survey found that the top 3 references were food, music and love.
Those 3 critical attributes spell one word: happiness. So we're a happiness destination, and your minister will drive that key passion point to increase arrivals and bring higher revenues to Jamaica.
There's been a 50% increase in crop yield under the Ministry of Agriculture's Onion Development Program. The ministry says the year-old program has reaped between 20 and 25 tons of onion per hectare, a significant improvement from the 12 tons per acre in previous years. Portfolio Minister Carl Samuda has urged farmers to extend their services into agro-processing. He was speaking at an Onion Development Program field day at the Colbeck Water Users Association in Old Harbour, St. Catherine.
What we have here is a display of some of the finest products that you could produce, possibly anywhere in the world. I want to see that extended one step further. I want to see that extended into not primary products, but also secondary products, where it can be packaged appropriately and sold locally and exported. Agriculture is one of the potential growth areas that will create growth for our economy.
Meanwhile, government has taken the decision to streamline the disbursement of farming implements by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. Members of Parliament were usually tasked with distributing farming equipment, fertilizer, spray, seeds and other implements necessary for farming. But now the minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, J.C. Hutchinson, has stopped that practice.
I have taken a decision that no longer will any politician get anything from RADA to distribute again. There must be farming organizations. And every district must have a farming organization through which we will distribute those fertilizer, tools, etc., etc.
Minister Hutchinson was speaking at the Onion Development Program Field Day at Old Harbour in St. Catherine. He promised to make a tractor available to plough agricultural lands and committed to rehabilitating farm roads and constructing a storage facility for farmers when they ramp up production.
We would like to have areas where you have a complex with a facility where you can grade, package, process. You have a cold storage area, you have a drying area, and with that, anything that is taken off of the farm, it goes to that complex. There is nothing that is spoiled.
And finally, the island's first World Heritage Site now has proper signage. On Monday, Culture Minister Olivia Grange unveiled a gateway sign leading to the Blue and John Crow Mountains at Pepin in St. Andrew.
The sign we are unveiling symbolizes what happens when a country, particularly a small island developing state, positions itself within the global sphere. It is important to point out that the ministry will erect 2 other such signs, one in Bath, St. Thomas, and the other in Port Antonio, Portland. They will represent the other 2 major gateways to our first World Heritage Site.
The Blue and John Crow Mountains was inscribed to the UNESCO's prestigious World Heritage List in 2015, guaranteeing international and local protection of this site. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lorraine Mendez. Thank you for watching.
No one is above the law. We encourage all Jamaicans to join the fight against corruption, organized criminality, these nefarious activities that stymies our country's progress. I want to encourage all Jamaicans to call. We have a secure line, 1-800-CORRUPT. Call anytime and we will treat the information received with the highest standard of confidentiality. We need your help. We want to elicit your support.
Call 1-800-CORRUPT. That's 1-800-267-7878. Be the change. Report corruption today.
The Ministry of National Security is not only setting policies on paper to help fight crime, it's also partnering with citizens to hear their concerns about crime, issues that lead to crime, and how to address them. The ministry is tackling crime on all fronts. Here are some of the highlights from a recent town hall meeting in St. James.
Maintaining law and order in society by forging partnerships with key stakeholders, including citizens, continues to be the overarching mandate of the Ministry of National Security. And in keeping with that goal, the ministry continues its series of town hall meetings, this time in St. James. The parish, which recorded an increase in murders last year, is front and center on the police's radar. A strong word from the police commissioner to those who commit crimes and their facilitators.
The eyes of the JCF are upon you. You will not get away with your crimes.
To back up that talk, the Jamaica Constabulary Force will be allocating more resources to policemen and women in St. James, including police vehicles.
When we graduate the next batch of police officers from the police college in 2 weeks' time, the majority of them will come to St. James.
The closed-circuit television systems in St. James will be expanded, and the police have been strengthening their capacity to investigate crime and bring perpetrators to justice.
There are more policemen and women on our streets. There is now a more focused effort out there in the communities with predatory and domestic violence.
Hard policing issues aside, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is urging citizens to join the police in their crime-fighting effort. Prime Minister Holness says there's no need to lose hope as government is working to address their concerns.
Our job as a government is to reach out to you, to put in place the policies, the plans and programs to help you to make that change.
That change begins with hearing the problems and fixing them.
There is a skills training center in Glendevon on Sun Valley Road that is first world equipped to train people at least in housekeeping, food and beverage, and IT. We would like to see that reopen because we are told it is closed because of unpaid light bill.
We have approached the JPSCO with a view to having that bill settled. What we're trying to do is not to rush into reopening the center, only for it to stop again. I believe that within another 3 months, that center will be up and running.
Why do persons have to wait 3 or 4 months for a post-mortem to be done on somebody who died by accident or whatever?
The question of a 3 to 4 month delay in postmortems is definitely unacceptable. But we understand the problem because we have some severe challenges. We have tried to recruit persons locally, regionally. We have succeeded so far in recruiting 1 Jamaican who is currently overseas in Canada and will complete their course by the end of this year to come back and increase the establishment.
The ministry will continue to work with the Institute of Forensic Science and Legal Medicine to recruit more forensic pathologists.
I born and grow and hear water is life. Well, if water is life, the children in my community are dying.
Currently, we have a system that supplies the Pitford area out of service. The Fairfield Weld, it is being cleaned, and that cleaning process should be completed within another 3 weeks. In the interim, we are willing to truck water to you.
We're not immune from terrorist threats. So I'd like to know what measures the government plans to instill to protect the nation from such a drastic threat.
We are faced with a terrorism threat. We are faced with a cyber attack, and our borders are porous, and many things are coming into Jamaica, not from the recognized ports. And therefore, I've asked for that audit and the requisite recommendations, because we have to be proactive. We cannot wait until there's an incident, then we react.
My burning issue is seeing school children on the roads after hours in their uniform, lurking on the streets.
Senior Superintendent Steve McGregor says a curfew system is being implemented.
Where by 9 p.m. each evening, we want all kids of 17 years and under to be off the streets unless they are in the company of their parents, not a guardian. We are working on it. We want the parents to play a part in it also, because we police alone cannot do it.
The Ministry of National Security, taking a holistic approach to solving crime, bringing together stakeholders, working to maintain law and order in the Jamaican society.
Is your silence worth the life of a child? Report child abuse. Call the Office of the Children's Registry at 1-888-PROTECT. Be the change. Speak out. Protect our children.
Jamaicans from every nook and cranny are being called on to break the silence against all forms of child abuse. The latest appeal came from Youth State Minister Floyd Green.
We must all recognize that one of the biggest challenges we have is a culture of silence. We have a subculture that supports those who do not inform, an anti-informer culture that pervades our entire society that we must break down. And the only way we can break it down is to frankly face it, to admit it, and to recognize that even with the high incidence of abuse, there are so many that are going unreported. As a ministry, we have launched a campaign called Break the Silence, and this new government has committed that we will strengthen that campaign because we have to change that culture. No longer is it somebody else's business. These are our children, and we want, as a society, we take every child as our child. We have also spoken to the CDA about strengthening our team of psychologists and psychiatrists, ensuring that when victims come to report, that support services are on hand to start that process of healing. We already know that from a government perspective, there are some legislative changes which we need to fast track and to ensure that we're sending an unequivocal signal that abuse will not be tolerated. It is a long road to travel, but we are committed to travel that road.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next Prime Minister.
Sexual abuse is always a very difficult thing to confront, particularly when the alleged victim is a child. Parents, if it is that you suspect that your child has been sexually abused, or is in a vulnerable set of circumstances where an abuse may occur, we encourage you to have dialogue with your child. Take the child to the pediatrician who normally attends to the child. If there is no such pediatrician, take your child to the clinic, to the hospital, to some medical practitioner who can do an assessment for you. It's very important as well that we don't just look at the physical side, but we also seek to find the kind of psychosocial support that a child may need. Does the child need a session with a counselor? Does the child need to speak with a pastor who is used to dealing with these issues? Does the child need to get that ongoing psychological support to assist with the healing process and also to assist the child in becoming strong enough, as it were, to deal with the various processes that will follow once it is that you suspect an abuse has occurred? If it is that the child actually discloses, when you engage the child in discussion, that yes, mommy and daddy, I was abused, we encourage you to entertain the child, to listen to what the child has to say to you, and to take it very seriously. So we really urge you to have those discussions and to seek guidance in terms of, do I speak to the police about this, which we always say you have to. Because once a child has been sexually abused, it's a criminal matter, and it means that once at all possible, the child should be assisted to go through the processes so that the perpetrator can in fact be held accountable. Support your child and let them understand in very clear terms that they are not the cause or the reason for this abuse having been perpetrated. But the most important element is to support them, get them access to the services that they need, and give them a chance to have you give them that listening ear. For these tips and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm. Thank you.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you're saying to my sister, cause she could be the next Prime Minister.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Give yourself a fighting chance. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
As you all know, April is being observed as Cancer Awareness Month, with special emphasis on cervical cancer. In today's HealthWise, we share a bit on the disease.
Here now are some important facts on cancer of the cervix. Some risk factors for cancer of the cervix have been identified. These include a history of smoking by women, having more than one sexual partner, engaging in sexual intercourse before the age of 18, and women with a history of genital warts. Women who fall into any of these risk categories should have pap smear testing done more frequently. Regular pelvic exams and pap smears can detect precancerous changes in the cervix. Women who have had hysterectomies, that is, the surgical removal of the uterus, are still encouraged to have pap smears. A pap smear can be done during pregnancy and poses no threat to the fetus. This should be done if it has been more than 1 year since your last test. Postmenopausal women are advised to continue to have regular pap smears.
Since the early 1950s, fewer women have had to suffer the devastation of cervical cancer. Since the early 1950s, the fight against this deadly disease has adopted a preemptive weapon for saving lives. Today, the pap smear continues to be the best defense against cervical cancer. Statistics show that the Ministry of Health carries out an average of 45,000 pap smear tests annually through health centers island-wide. The Jamaica Cancer Society tests an average of 8,000 to 10,000, while another 60,000 are tested through private facilities. But there is evidence that even with such intense testing, some 175,000 to 200,000 women who are at risk are yet to be screened.
And what our doctors will share with you is that those women who have been diagnosed with cervical cancer, a good percentage of those women have never done a pap smear in their life.
So the Jamaica Cancer Society, the JCS, is positioning itself to help stem the number of new cases of cervical cancer among women by ramping up its pap smear campaign. April is being observed as Cancer Awareness Month, and the JCS is using that observance to appeal to women between the ages of 21 and 55 to do their annual pap smear test. The message is that early detection increases the chance for effective treatment.
This is what we're trying to encourage and to mobilize our Jamaican women to really, understand the situation that is out there, right? And to really start engaging in a healthy lifestyle and to really start practicing to have your pap smear done, because right now screening is your best defense.
Cervical cancer is said to be the second leading cause of death among women in Jamaica, and the Cancer Society's executive director says 20 out of every 100,000 women are diagnosed each year, with another 250 women dying from the disease. She laments that this is high for a population of over 2.6 million people.
The Jamaica Cancer Society is very committed, and our focus is about stemming the incidence of this disease and, by extension, eliminating death.
Nutritious food, succulent dishes, superior workmanship, and excellent service. Jamaica is on the go. Let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Let's harness the indomitable spirit of our most valued resource, our people. Let's support our local businesses. After all, buying Jamaican means building Jamaica.
Original.
A new government has been formed. Hear their plans as each minister share their vision. Watch Issues and Answers this and every Sunday on this station to hear members of the cabinet talk about their portfolios and projections. That's Issues and Answers this and every Sunday for your one-on-one time with the ministers.
That's a wrap on today's show. Thank you for spending time with us. We invite you to share your feedback by sending an email, jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. Visit us online at jis.gov.jm. And if social media is more your thing, join us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm Theodore Henry, and this has been Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.